Proclaim September 15th to October 15th, 2021 to be Latinx Heritage Month.
Very good, thank you. And before I begin, I'd like to remind viewers that there is closed caption available in Spanish, and that was just put into the chat. Let me look it up here. It's www.streamtext.net/player?event=Portland. That's about that should be somebody's password is what that should be. But it is there and it is available in Spanish. Colleagues, September 15th marks Latinx Heritage Month. This is a time to celebrate, to learn about cultures, the struggles, as well as the important accomplishments of Hispanic, Latinx, Indigenous, and Afro-Latino communities. I want to underscore Mario T. Garcia's reflections on this important month. Quote, because of the historic struggles of Chicanos, Mexican Americans, and other Latinos, we've been able to achieve more social justice in this country, unquote. We all benefit when we take the time to learn and to appreciate our own culture and cultures different from our own. It's what makes our city and indeed our entire nation such an incredible place to live. I also want to remind us of our collective humanity. After horrific images and footage I've seen this week, we need to remember that we are all deserving of love. All should be welcome. We need comprehensive immigration reform that honors these important truths. I want to personally thank our proclamation organizers, our guest performers, and our Latin PDX affinity group members for drafting this item and helping to lead this program today. And from here, I'll turn this over to Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. Today, I stand here in deep appreciation of the consequential times that we're in, and also the significance of today in this moment. And for me, it's deeply personal. Most of you have heard me talk about this, and you know I was born the daughter and granddaughter of Mexican farm workers and immigrants. And now I have the honor of serving as Portland's first Latinx city commissioner. And all the things that happened between these two occurrences have shaped my experience as a Chicana, Latinx, Oregonian, and Portlander, and it's how I show up every single day. And like many of our Black, Indigenous, and people of color friends and family, we've learned to appreciate being in community so much because we are often in spaces where each other is all that we have. And so when I was here many years ago, nearly 15 years ago, maybe more, a group of determined and brave employees came together to create DEEP out of this desire to be in community and support one another's leadership and change systems to increase representation here at the City of Portland. And I'm inspired by just how much our employee groups contributed to make these things happen and continue to happen. I'm inspired to see the work and leadership of groups like Latinx PDX and other active groups here at the city. Their presence and contribution makes me feel something that I and others didn't always feel every day, all those years ago before all of this. It makes me feel more welcome. It makes me feel more seen and more affirmed. And we still have work to do to make it even more so. And all these reasons are why it means so much for me to introduce this year's City of Portland Latinx Heritage Month proclamation. And I want to thank the City of Portland Latinx PDX Affinity Group and Latinx Heritage Month Planning Committee, which includes my senior policy advisor, Cynthia Castro, also Michelle Rodriguez and Goldan Salazar from Commissioner Mapp's office, and Angelita Morillo from Commissioner Hardesty's office, Sam Diaz from the Mayor's office, Lena Gonzalez-Bear from Open and Accountable Elections, Ana Maria Perez and Mariana Lomanto from PBOT, and Daniel Franco Nunez from the Office of Community and Civic Life. Much appreciation to every one of you. This year's theme is Esperanza, a celebration of Latinx heritage and hope. The two people who really embody this theme are our guests, Joaquin Lopez and Claudia Cuentas. And it's my pleasure to introduce them. Many of you know Joaquin. Joaquin is a counselor and performing artist who is one of two creative laureates for the City of Portland, alongside Layla Hale. His work is grounded in personal transformation, self-expression, community healing, and Latino queer identity. Joaquin runs a counseling private practice specializing in personal development and the bicultural Latino experience. Claudia is a storyteller, musician, therapist, and researcher. Born and raised in Peru, she comes from a strong lineage of social activists, musicians, composers, and healers from the Aymara tradition. Her lineages are Aymara, Quechua, and Mestizo from South America. Her research continues to guide her inquiry to study mind, body, spirit, and their interconnectedness through creativity, healing, indigenous ways of knowing. Claudia graduated from Tamalpa Institute and received her MA in psychology and drama therapy at California Institute of Integral Studies in San Francisco. For the past 15 years, she's worked with individuals and families and communities in California, Oregon, and Peru. So I will now turn it over to Joaquin first. Welcome, Joaquin.
Hello, everybody. It's so awesome to be here to celebrate Latinx Heritage Month. I'm at a loss of words. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I know what I'm communicating, but I don't know if I've communicated it in Spanish or in English. And that's what I love about this month. It doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter how you say it. What matters is that you're celebrating life and you're celebrating your ancestry, your grandparents, your parents, and the culture that makes you who you are. I'm going to share with you a song by one of my favorite artists whose name is Juan Gabriel. Juan Gabriel is known as one of the premier songwriters in Mexican culture and in Latin America. And this song is called La Muerte del Palomo, the death of the dove. And what I love so much about it is that it's a story of resilience. And I don't know about y'all, but I've lost my dreams before, and it's never the end of the earth. Because there's always tomorrow. We can always dream a new dream. So this I give to you for Latinx Heritage Month. La Muerte del Palomo. Volverás, paloma, triste está el palomar, solito quedó el palomo, ahogándose entre sollozos. Pues ya no puede volar. Pobrecito del palomo, cansado está de sufrir, y mirando para el cielo, a Dios le pide su muerte. Que así no quiere vivir. En llorar, en llorar, en llorar. Desde que te fuiste se le fue el palomo en puro llorar. Por llorar, por llorar, por llorar. Ya no puede ver, ni puede volar. Se acerca su muerte, está agonizando de tanto esperar. Morirá, morirá, morirá. Morirá el palomo porque así la muerte cuando hay soledad. Mirar hacia el cielo, te verá volando, te dará la gracia por este recuerdo y a cruzar las alas que te cobijaron, ahogarán sus sueños que no despertaron. En llorar, en llorar. Desde que te fuiste se le fue el palomo en puro llorar. su muerte está agonizando de tanto esperar. Morirá, morirá, morirá. Morirá el palomo porque así la muerte. Cuando hay soledad, mirar hacia el cielo, te verá volando, te dará la gracia por este recuerdo y acusar las alas que te cobijaron, ahogarán sus sueños que no despertaron. Nunca volverás, paloma.
Bravo!
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
It's
you
much
so
better now.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Joaquin. That was beautiful, and it was just what we needed today. Next, we will invite up Claudia. Claudia, welcome.
Muchísimas gracias. Un honor y una alegría estar aquí. Thank you so much. A joy and an honor to be here with all of you celebrating this important day. Muchas, muchas gracias. So I am going to be playing two tunes, one with a flute from South America, saying thank you for this day, for this moment, for this important event, acknowledging, celebrating Latinx culture and immigration as well. And I will be then playing a song with my string instrument in Spanish about the beauty and the perseverance of our communities and the rising and the continuation of dancing and singing together. Thank you. Por toda la mis amores, nunca dejes de danzar. Por toda la, por toda la, por toda la cordillera. Que sigamos, levantándonos, que sigamos.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claudia, and thank you, Joaquin. These were obviously both just incredible and moving performances. They really embody the human spirit, and your optimism, both of you, just shines through. What a great way to start our day. Thank you, and thank you to Commissioner Rubio as well. Before I read the proclamation, I'd like to invite my colleagues to offer any thoughts or reflections they may have. I see Commissioner Hardesty has her hand raised. Commissioner Hardesty.
Thank you, Mayor was left over, but of course I have something to say. First, thank you and Commissioner Rubio for bringing this resolution in front of us today. Thank you to the incredible musicians, Hakeem and Claudia. Oh my gosh, I wish we could start every council meeting this way. It would be a wonderful way to center us. And the energy and the love that you brought into this space today is almost bringing me to tears. This is an important resolution because we are celebrating today Latinx Heritage Month. And just like other celebrations that we have, what we know is the Latinx community is not monolithic. The Latinx community spans the globe and brings with them to our shores culture, food, music, love, family, values, the commitment to family, the commitment to the next generation. I am so honored that I get to be a part of a council where I get to share my space with Commissioner Rubio. I've known Commissioner Rubio for, if I tell you how long I've known her, you'll know how old we both are. So I won't tell you how long I've known her. But what she has brought to the council is immeasurable. Representation matters, and having your voice in spaces where decisions are being made that will impact not just you and your family, but the next generation of your family is really critical. As a city, we have a lot of work to do. But what I know is our Latinx community has never shied away from hard work. They've never shied away from being good partners. They've never shied away from fighting for justice, and not just for yourself, but for all of us. Because what we know is we are all interconnected, and we all have a shared history of the challenges of being in a space that people question whether you should be there or not. We're celebrating and honoring the resiliency of a culture. And I am grateful again that I have the opportunity to be in this space today. Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Thank you, Mayor Wheeler. And thank you to our Latinx affinity group at the City of Portland for helping to make today possible.
Thank you, Commissioner Hardesty. Commissioner Maps.
Mr. Mayor, colleagues, I'm honored to join you in celebrating Latinx Heritage Month. I'll begin today by sharing a quote from farm worker activist Cesar Chavez. Preservation of one's own culture does not require contempt or disrespect for other cultures. In other words, our celebration of the Latinx community today does not dim the light of others. In fact, engaging others, learning from their rich history, embracing unfamiliar cultures connects us to each other. That's why I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to Joaquin and Claudia for their beautiful performances today. I also want to recognize Commissioner Rubio for her efforts to uplift the Latinx community and whose presence on this council provides inspiration to the Latinx children of Portland who see themselves in her. I also want to recognize and thank my staff, Michelle Rodriguez, for her work on today's celebration. In addition, I'd like to thank Goldan and Yvette in my office for their thoughtful perspectives, and staff from all the other council offices and bureaus who, through their work, continue to elevate the Latinx community. Finally, I want to encourage all Portlanders to support Latinx-owned small businesses like the Mercado on Southeast Foster. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps. Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Wheeler, and thank you, Joaquin and Claudia. That really did open me up and opened all of us up. It really is important for us to bring music to council meetings, and that was really special. Thank you so much. I want to thank the Affinity Group for their work to bring this proclamation forward, as well as for the translators for their efforts to ensure the quality and content of the conversation is delivered appropriately and accessibly today. Additionally, I want to recognize and emphasize the leadership of Commissioner Rubio, who humbly serves all Portlanders while representing our city as the first Latina commissioner on City Council. As someone privileged to build a personal and professional relationship with Commissioner Rubio, I know how dedicated she is to serving the city. Commissioner Rubio believes in building safe, affordable Portland with access to good jobs, strong education systems, and neighbors helping neighbors, a sense of belonging for everyone. Thank you for your leadership, Commissioner Rubio. It truly is a pleasure to serve alongside you. Latinx workers, particularly women, have faced devastating job losses as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. And National Latinx Heritage Month is an opportunity for all Portlanders to support the Latinx businesses, culture, and heritage, and deepen their connection to the Latinx community. This month, I encourage all residents to explore Latinx businesses around the city, and there's so many. You can grab a bite at the Mercado, the Portland Mercado, or Taqueria Los Punales, and before that, diving into season 38 of Teatro Milagros Community Art Project. The truth is, Portland has a rich Latinx history, and I hope all of you take opportunity to celebrate our Latinx neighbors as you support Latinx businesses. Additionally, I want to acknowledge my spouse at home, Alma Reyes, whose parents migrated from northern Mexico to Las Vegas. And then fortunately, Alma moved to Portland to get their MFA at Portland State. And then my most rich blessing in life was to meet Alma and build a life with them. Daily, as we work at home, we get to hear each other at the office, and listening to Alma speak in Spanish to enroll future Latinx teachers is something that really makes my heart sing. And additionally, I gotta say, because of the rains that hit last Friday, I went and harvested our tomatoes and jalapeno peppers from the garden. And I gotta tell you, the salsa in our house is so much better than when I used to make it alone. I wanna end with acknowledging my staff who are from the beautiful culture, Chief of Staff, Kelly Torres, Restorative Villages Director, Charity Montez, and Senior Policy Director, Karen Julian Chapman. I learn from you daily. I'm inspired by you every minute. I'm really happy to support this proclamation. I vote aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. And Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know I've spoken a lot, but I just wanted to again thank the Latinx PDX Affinity Group, our Latinx Heritage Month Planning Committee, and our two special guests, Joaquin and Claudia. Your words and performances were so beautiful and are medicine for our hearts and souls. Representation matters, and our diverse Latinx community needs to see themselves in government, from bureaus to city council, and deserve the opportunity to be part of policymaking that impacts all of our lives. Community issues like universal representation, the Worker Relief Fund, support for Latinx and BIPOC art and artists, and the language pay differential, they're all moving forward because we're here to make sure that it does. And I want to acknowledge all the Latinx employees here at the city and appreciate you and what you bring to this city, and including my own staff, Rico, Cynthia, and Adriana. It's why representation matters. And I'm so proud to see this work alive and underway in the city. So thanks, and I'll turn it back to the mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. And with that, I will read the proclamation on behalf of the City Council. Whereas for the first time in Portland history, the people of Portland elected a Latinx city commissioner, and we know that representation matters. And seeing ourselves at all levels of government is important to ensure that our voices are at the table and that our communities are considered. Whereas Portland community members self-identify as Latinx, Latine, Latino, Latina, Hispanic, Chicano, Chicana, Indigenous, Afro-Latino, or with their country of origin or heritage. And whereas the rich tapestry of Latinx culture is multiracial, multicultural, and multilingual. And whereas many Latinx people trace their roots to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, European settler colonists, Africans who were kidnapped, trafficked, and enslaved in the Americas, and Asians who immigrated to the Americas. And whereas the Latinx population, representing the largest ethnic minority in the United States, celebrates the histories, cultures, and contributions of people who trace their ancestors to the Caribbean, Central America, North America, South America, and all over the world. And whereas the Latinx community has been integral to and have participated in the creation of this nation for generations, well before its founding, even as they've grappled with relative invisibility, outright rejection of their place in society, and internal struggles about their own identity in this country. And whereas the Latinx people, along with Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities, are part of the essential workforce that continue to keep our city and indeed our nation operating during the COVID-19 pandemic. They drive our economy as workers, owners, and entrepreneurs. They are the force of social and political change as advocates, activists, and elected officials. They innovate as teachers, scientists, and engineers. They enrich the arts as artisans, composers, symphonists, poets, storytellers, actors, and directors. They ensure our health and basic human needs as grocery store workers, truck drivers, agricultural workers, day laborers, sanitation workers, childcare providers, caretakers, nurses, doctors, and so many others. And whereas more than a year into this pandemic, over half of Latinos in the United States have had either a family member or a close friend hospitalized, or a friend or family member has died from the coronavirus. And nearly half of Latinos have either lost a job or taken a significant pay cut. And whereas amidst adversity, prolonged economic hardship, and the substantial physical and mental tolls that this pandemic has exacted, the Latinx people remain hopeful about the future. And whereas hope guides, sustains, and serves as a beacon, and the shared strong communities and cherished families and friends is testament to the ever resilient Latinx peoples. And whereas to help connect more Latinx people to city jobs and to support them throughout their careers with the city, the Latinx PDX City Employee Affinity Group was reestablished in 2014. Latinx PDX has reached over 100 employees and continues to grow. Whereas Latinx PDX city employees stand in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities and marginalized groups who face discrimination and underrepresentation in our city and globally. And whereas Latinx PDX city employees are committed to continue working in unity with our bureaus to dismantle the systems of oppression that make civic engagement and participation difficult for BIPOC communities. Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do hereby proclaim September 15th, to October 15th, 2021 to be Latinx Heritage Month in Portland and encourage all residents to learn, reflect, and celebrate the historical and present contributions that Latinx people have in our community. And with that, colleagues, I'll turn this over to Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to read this in Spanish, attempt to read this in Spanish. So thank you for that. Considerando por la primera vez en la historia de Portland, las personas de Portland eligieron un comisionado Latinx y sabemos que la representación importa. Y vernos a nosotros mismos en todos los niveles de gobierno es importante para asegurar que nuestras voces sean representadas y nuestras comunidades sean consideradas. Y considerando que los miembros de la comunidad de Portland se identifican sí mismos como Latinx, Latino, Latina, Latiné, Hispano, Hispana, Chicano, Chicana, Indígena y con su país de origen o ascendencia. Y considerando que el tapiz de la cultura Latinx es multirracial, multicultural y multilingüe. Y considerando que muchas personas Latinx tienen sus raíces en los pueblos indígenas de las Américas, pobladores colonizadores europeos, africanos que fueron secuestrados, traficados y esclavizados en las Américas, y asiáticos que emigraron a las Américas. Y considerando la población Latinx representa el grupo étnico minoritario más grande de los Estados Unidos, celebra la historia, culturas y contribuciones de personas que tienen sus raíces en el Caribe, América Central, Norteamérica, Suramérica y por todo el mundo. Y considerando que la comunidad Latinx ha sido integral al progreso de los Estados Unidos por generaciones, aun cuando esta comunidad ha enfrentado invisibilidad, rechazo de su lugar en nuestra sociedad y luchas internas sobre su propia identidad en este país. Y considerando que las personas Latinx, junto con las comunidades negras, indígenas y gente de color, son parte de la fuerza de trabajo esencial que mantiene funcionando a nuestra ciudad y nación durante la pandemia del COVID-19. Ellas impulsan la economía como trabajadores, propietarios y empresarios. Ellas son la fuerza de cambio social y político como defensores, activistas y funcionarios elegidos. Ellas crean innovaciones como maestros, científicos e ingenieros. Ellas enriquecen las artes como poetas, narradores orales o actores y directores. Ellas aseguran nuestras necesidades básicas y de salud como empleados de supermercados, choferes de camiones, trabajadores agrícolas, jornaleros, trabajadores sanitarios, proveedores de cuidado de niños, cuidadores personales, enfermeros, doctores y muchos otros. Y considerando por más de un año en esta pandemia, más de la mitad de los latinos de Estados Unidos han perdido a un familiar o un amigo cercano hospitalizado o atendió a un familiar o amigo morir por el coronavirus. Y casi la mitad de latinos han perdido su trabajo o tenido su salario reducido de forma significativa. Y considerando entre la adversidad, dificultades económicas prolongadas y el costo alto causado por la pandemia al estado físico y mental, la comunidad latina continúa siendo optimista y ve al futuro con esperanza. Y considerando que la esperanza guía, aguanta, provee luz y las comunidades fuertes y compartidas y a los amados familiares y amigos Es testimonio a las eternamente perdurables personas que componen la comunidad latina. Y considerando para ayudar a conectar a más personas latinx a trabajos en la ciudad y para apoyarlos para este proceso durante sus carreras con la ciudad, el grupo de afinidad Latinx de la ciudad de Portland fue reestablecido en el 2014, conocido como Latinx PDX. Ha aumentado a más de 100 empleados y continúa aumentando. Y considerando Latinx PDX se unen en solidaridad con las comunidades que se identifican como miembros de las comunidades negra, indígena, personas de color y cualquier otro grupo marginalizado que lucha contra la discriminación y falta de representación en nuestra ciudad y globalmente. Y considerando los empleos de la ciudad de Latinx PDX, se comprometen a trabajar unidos con nuestras agencias para desmantelar los sistemas de opresión y racismo que hacen que el compromiso y participación cívica sea difícil para la comunidad BIPOC. Y ahora, por lo tanto, yo, Ted Wheeler, alcalde de la ciudad de Portland, Oregon, por medio de la presente, proclamo que del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre del 2021, mes de la herencia Latinx. Y yo aliento a todos los residentes a aprender, reflexionar y celebrar las contribuciones históricas y presentes que las personas Latinx hacen en nuestra comunidad.